Okay, so welcome back, Elaine, to the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go live session. So let's jump into our email for today. Have a look at today's quote, which will lead us nicely into a bit of teaching. That'll lead us into today's lesson. And we'll do the workbook lesson and a meditation. So it'll be a short one today, just an hour or so. All right, so let me share my screen with you. So if you can kick it off with the quote from Neale Donald Walsch. Shall I make that a bit bigger?
Yeah.
There we go. Can you read that?
Yeah. You are goodness and mercy and compassion and understanding. You are peace and joy and light. You are forgiveness and patience, strength and courage, a helper in time of need, a comforter in time of sorrow, a healer in time of injury, a teacher in times of confusion. You are the deepest wisdom and the highest truth, the greatest peace and the grandest love. You are these things, and in moments of your life, you have known yourself to be these things. Choose now to know yourself as these things always. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, a really great quote by Neale Donald Walsch, who wrote the Conversations with God books. He was homeless for about 9 months before he was inspired to write the first book in what has been a very popular series. It's a wonderful reminder of the great gifts that forgiveness or letting go will bring us, which is the theme of today's mind training lesson. Also makes the qualities of our true nature and how we might experience and express them in our lives quite practical, doesn't it? Which again echoes what today's workbook lesson says about not waiting to claim the gifts of God or perfect love, but accepting them into your awareness now. And you do that by denying the illusions that deny them. So deny the denial of truth and you're back in the truth, is the course's teaching. So peace is an experience that comes when you rest in this true being, and is typically not associated with taking action. So it's what I call foundational happiness, the result of what some philosophers have called the ground of being. The Apostle Paul called the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. The easiest way to experience it is to meditate for an extended period of time in a way that quiets the mind. So by the end of the meditation, you're not thinking much at all. Without this background peace, happiness is impossible, but with it, happiness becomes inevitable in your natural state, as this quote expresses very well. So if you can read the quote from The Golden Key to Prosperity and Happiness, which is a book that was published in 1885 in the US as part of the so-called New Thought movement.
Happiness is a butterfly, which when pursued is always just beyond your grasp, but which, if you will sit down quietly, may come and alight on you.
Mm. Which is just stating the truth of being. You know, if you continuously pursue things, then how can you find that peace? You're always chasing. But if you just sit down quietly, it may just come and alight on you, and that peace is there. So this is really saying what the Buddha said 2,500 years before that, that craving is the source of all suffering. If you keep craving, you keep desiring, you keep the game of suffering going, and you never find the peace of God that surpasses all understanding because of that. You'll never find the true happiness that is really just freedom from dissatisfaction, or dukkha, as the Buddha called it. Dukkha was the dissatisfaction, the unhappiness with the world. Freedom from that was then defined as enlightenment. So then the question is, when does happiness become joy and then enter the picture? You may well ask. So Eckhart Tolle describes joy as vibrantly alive peace, a more vital and active expression of the same underlying being or foundational happiness that gives rise to peace. Vibrantly alive peace. I quite like that description. So it's the same underlying being, but joy has a quality of often being just that a bit stronger, a bit more ebullient, a bit more outgoing, perhaps a bit more related to action in the world. Often joy expresses itself through things we do, like you might be dancing, singing, or running. Whereas peace is a more, in deep peace, you just don't want to do anything. You don't want to move. There's just this tendency to just stay rooted in that peace. But if you become too attached to this experience of peace, your joy can become tainted by the mind's desire for more joy, which paradoxically blocks joy from flowing through you and leads to undesirable craving for a spiritually high experience. And we talked about that earlier in the expression. This kind of thing can happen. Oh, I want more. I've had an experience of joy. I just want to get back there. And I spend years of my life trying to get back there, and I just never I never seem to get there. So I'm craving the spiritual high instead of just rather saying, well, let me just be peaceful and content right now, and I'll settle for that. Peace and contentment are no a small gift. But the desire for more joy is just another form of desire or craving, as the Buddha noticed 2,500 years ago, which causes suffering because it sets up an expectation that will inevitably lead to disappointment and more craving for the desired joyful state, an insight that has become the second noble truth of Buddhism. So the more you crave it, the less likely you are to experience it. It's elusive. You experience it, as the quote says, when you just sit quietly and let it alight on you, then happiness, joy, everything might arise spontaneously. And it starts arising also spontaneously moment by moment. You don't necessarily have to be sitting quietly. Your joy can come at any moment. That's the idea. So your life becomes a moving meditation. You've invited joy to come in through spiritual practices like meditation. But then once you've made that invitation, it will come in often repeatedly in unexpected times and ways. So how does one stay connected to the deep peace that is foundational happiness without craving, while experiencing a heightened state of joy in the doing of your daily activities? That's the question. Okay, and the simple answer is just let go and find your flow. So letting go, we study that every day. It's the courses is about letting go or forgiveness in course language, but that's what letting go is. And finding your flow is finding the miracles. That's called the Course in Miracles because those are the outcome of letting go. Could be called a Course in Forgiveness, but he's focused on the miracles because those are the outcomes that are happy. Those are the outcomes that are actually helping you to let go and find your flow. Okay, so letting go allows you to restore your mind to a peaceful state when it's been disturbed by anything. So it restores your foundational happiness. And then from this state of calm-centeredness, you can act in a way that is not self-seeking. You're not seeking pleasure or avoiding pain. If a situation requires you to act, you may find joy rising spontaneously, react in this flowing way. But if not, you remain fundamentally happy. Eckhart Tolle incorporates this relationship between happiness, peace, and joy into a three-level system, starting with acceptance, which is the level of peace or foundational happiness, then progressing to enjoyment, which is to be joyfully in flow, finally peaking in enthusiasm, which literally means in God in the original Greek, can lead to an experience of ecstatic joy. So enter Abraham Maslow, who called ecstatic joy a peak experience, and he proposed that it can be experienced by someone who has reached the transcendence level at the top of his expanded 8-level hierarchy of needs, above the level of self-actualization, which was at the top of the simplified 5-level hierarchy of needs. And many people have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, incorrectly believe is the highest level. Right? So the 5 level was most of his life. I think he did that in the 50s, and he lived till the early 1970s, so sort of 20 odd years. And then just before his death, it was I think the final year or 2 years that he published an expansion of the 5-level hierarchy into an 8-level hierarchy of needs, which at the top of which is the transcendence level. So he understood that at the highest level, you transcend the limits of the separate self, which is why I call it transcendence. And you become more than self-actualized. There's not a separate self who's now becoming the best separate self that it can become. It's learning that you're not a separate self at all. That you're already one self. So you can explore Maslow's hierarchy of needs, both the 5-level and the expanded 8-level in the video. Good video, actually recommend reading it. So it's just another model, and it's useful to know this, Elaine, because if you're talking to someone, most people have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's quite common, even people who are not really into this stuff. Oh, yeah, I know, I've heard of Maslow's hierarchy. It's one of the most famous kind of psychological models. So you can say, well, did you know that actually there were 8 levels? Most people don't. Actually, at the end of his life, he did an 8-level model. And they say, oh, that's interesting. So what were the other 3 levels? That's a normal question. And then, you can talk about it. They were about aesthetic appreciation. So that's art and music and so on. Cognitive development. So that's the need for intellectual stimulation. And then transcendence. That ultimately you would transcend at the very top of the pyramid. There would be this transcendence level. Let's do Maslow's expanded hierarchy of needs. There we go. So there it is at the top level. It's transcendence. Then he put self-actualization below that, and then there were 2 in between, self-esteem. It's his first 5 or physiological needs: safety and security, love and belonging, self-esteem, and self-actualization. But he inserted these 2 here between self-esteem, the idea of knowledge and understanding, so that's intellectual development, the need for aesthetics, so that's things like art and music and culture, then self-actualization, and then finally transcendence, which transcended even the self-actualized self. So what often happens, you talked about some of these famous actors in our expression, like Jim Carrey and Anthony Hopkins, Morgan Freeman, Tina Turner. She was an actor, but a musician. They went to this to a high degree. They self-actualized, they fulfilled their potential in the world, and then what's next is transcendence of the separate self.
Yeah, what we were talking about.
Yeah, and then they realize, well, maybe I'm not actually the character. Maybe I'm not Jim Carrey. I remember I listened to an interview once. It was really funny. So Jim Carrey's rocked up to some awards or something, and you got the media there. So some ladies trying to interview him. So Jim, tell us about your whatever. And he's like, no, I'm not Jim Carrey. And she's like, what?
I've seen some of his interviews.
You could see she was really. You've seen it. It's hilarious. No, I'm not Jim Carrey. No, Jim Carrey's just an illusion. And she's like, okay.
I did see it, yes.
I'm trying to interview this guy, and
He was
this
looking
isn't
at
a
like
normal
he was
interview.
mad,
He's not
yes.
talking about. Yeah, like, okay, this guy's kind of losing the plot. And he was having some fun. He was I think he was quite enjoying it.
I did read it. It was a good one, that.
Yeah, exactly. It was the 5 minutes, and you're just like, okay. She was probably like, that's the most difficult interview I've ever had. So
Mm,
Jim. Oh, no, no, I'm not Jim. Oh, okay. So, who am I speaking to then? Well, exactly. Who are you speaking to?
yeah.
That's the point. You
Mm,
think it's Jim Carrey, this body and this personality with his history and his story, and you want me to talk about that, but Jim's like, well, I don't really care about that anymore because I'm not Jim Carrey. I've
mm,
realized that I'm transcendent. I am that I am. I am the
mm,
Christ that transcends any self-concept. Whether that self-concept is Jim Carrey's self-concept, which is in the world's view, that's quite a good self-concept, right? You've a successful actor and you've made money and you're famous and you know, but actually it's all illusion. It doesn't really matter what the self-concept is. If it's all a dream, whether it's a famous illusory character or rich illusory character or a beautiful illusory character in the dream, doesn't really matter, does it? It's just an illusion.
mm, mm.
When you start to get it, then you're awakening to the transcendent self. But
I
many
think
people have.
Jim Carrey was happy with his life though in the finish. I know he had his depression, but he in the finish he just was happy with what he'd done with his life as an ego.
Yeah, well, I think he's realized that it was all part of his awakening. So he needed to do everything he did to climb this ladder and get to the transcendence level. When he was a young actor in
Mm,
the 80s, struggling up and coming actor, no money, no work, the normal thing
mm.
that happens.
He had depression. He
At
was on
work.
Prozac, wasn't he?
But he visualized himself having a check for $10 million
I remember. Yes, yes. Mm,
for a movie. And he visualized that, persistently, even though he had no money. He was like, no, this check is coming to me. And he'd written it out to himself, and it was on a date. It was December 1995, which was like 10 years.
mm,
And in the end, he got it. December 1995, he was paid $10 million for his role in a movie called Dumb and Dumber.
mm,
And so it manifested. And, people are like, oh, wow, amazing. But that
mm,
wasn't the end of the story. That was just almost the beginning. That was like, okay, so now I've kind of self-actualized. I've actually fulfilled, I've done this. I've achieved my dream. I'm now this movie star, and I'm the highest paid actor ever. No actor had ever been paid more than $10 million at that point. So the highest paid actor ever in the world. That's kind of self-actualization. And yet, you see, then I'm still not happy. I've still got the depression. I'm still struggling with myself. Why? And so then, his spiritual journey really begins of like, okay, now, what's beyond that? What transcends it? Which is why Maslow added the transcendence level, because in his studies of these kinds of self-actualized characters, he found that that's where they went. Where
mm,
do you go after you self-actualize? You go to transcendence, which is enlightenment, which is awakening, which if you look at this model, from another great thinker, David Hawkins, very similar. Where do you go when you awaken? You go into the ineffable pure consciousness, transcendence. This would be the transcendence level on Maslow's, and you could correlate his other levels with these. So however you slice and dice it, it's all this developmental. There's levels of awareness, and you climb the ladder to the ultimate level, and at that ultimate level you've transcended, and that's the end of the dream then. But there's a lot of work to do while you're here to climb the ladder and move through these developmental stages. And that can be framed in many ways. You could look at this map of consciousness and say that's valid. Yeah, it is. And you could look at Maslow's hierarchy and say that's also valid. It's just a different take on it, different perspective on the levels of the dream. And so they all can be helpful. All right, so let's go back to our teaching briefly. So the idea of transcending the separate self is hardly a new one. It is the highest state attainable in the ancient Indian transformational system of yoga called samadhi. It means to collect or to bring together in Sanskrit, thus suggesting that the concentration or unification of thought and emotion to produce the highest state of awareness that a person can experience, in which they are one with God, or an alternative LG language, in a state of pure formless awareness. So it's this state of mind is called enlightenment in many spiritual traditions. And of course, in Miracles, Yeshua refers to it as revelation, because it's a perfectly unified state of mind that transcends the body and this world entirely, whereas a miracle or correction entails a shift in perception, and so still involves an awareness of this world. So this is well illustrated here. We go into Holy Trinity, we're talking about level 1. Ken Wapnick would call it, this is level 1, pure formless awareness of perfect love. And this is level 2. This is the mezzanine level, intermediate level of the true self that can perceive the world correctly from a higher awareness. So that's what we're trying to raise ourselves up to through this mind training and through the course. And then that prepares us for the coming of this awareness of revelation when we're ready. Okay, is that all clear?
Yeah.
So the miracles or the corrections happen at this level of awareness. Miracles are, in correcting our perception, changing our mind about the world, restoring our mind to an awareness of the true self. They happen between level 2 and the mezzanine level. But you're not yet in pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is revelation that transcends miracles. You don't need miracles and revelation because you're already home. So there's nothing to do here. I need do nothing. That's a statement, a level 1 statement. I need do nothing. But then in other parts of the course, he says, well, you need, the Holy Spirit needs your eyes and your ears and your hands and most of all your willingness in this at-one-ment plan. Okay, well, I need do nothing, and that contradict. But they contradict because they're just at different levels of the awakening process. Do you understand? When you're there, then there's nothing to do. When you're here, then yes, you need to correct your perception, and that's going to require mind training and forgiveness and corrections. And all of these words describe this process of letting go, really, of your illusions and accepting the truth again back into your mind. Okay, so I've included the Samadhi movie, part 1 of the Samadhi movie. If you want to watch that, if you haven't watched it, or watch it again. So this Samadhi, enlightenment, revelation state can only happen when you're ready for it. Practicing the workbook lessons, the other mind training material I share every day are one way to prepare yourself for an experience of Samadhi. Okay, so watch that movie. It's about an hour and a bit. And it's part 1, so there's 3 parts. The whole thing's over 3 hours. Very, very interesting. Really going to the Eastern teachings, but you'll relate to them to course concepts. You can relate them very easily to concepts taught in the course. Okay, so that brings us to our lesson for today. So let's dive into that, shall we? Let's do lesson 334. Shall we have time? We don't have time for the anything other than the lesson. We'll skip the what is the ego? Ego is just illusion. The ego is idolatry. In fact, just read the key message. That's a good way to summarize it. What's the key message of what is the ego?
The belief in separation is false and insane, leading only to illusions of sin, guilt, fear, and suffering in many forms. In truth, I am the extension of perfect love, eternally united with it in peace and joy. By letting go of my belief in separation and separate self in whatever form, I awaken to eternal life in pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Yeah. So summary of that. What's he saying?
Just saying that it's insane to continue in this belief in separation. just leading to illusions of sin and guilt and fear and suffering. And so why would we choose that when we have a choice of the truth to be the extension of perfect love, which is eternally united with peace and joy? So just let go of this belief in separation, and you'll awaken to your true self, the pure formless awareness of perfect love.
And that's the Course's modality. He's saying you don't have to try and become what you already are. You already are that. You just have to remove what is blocking your awareness of that, because you already are that. You see, that's the logic. So instead of it being about growth, or you've got to grow and you've got to learn, you've got to become more, you're just really unlearning. Yeah. Learning is unlearning. True learning is unlearning. You're unlearning the false thought system of a separate self and its self concept and its world. Unlearning all that, letting all that go, and then automatically what reveals itself is the true self. It must, because that's what's left. When you've let go of everything else, it's an illusion. What's left is the truth. So that's the Course's methodology. Just strip away everything that's false, and what reveals itself is true. Rather than, oh, I've got to try and become better and more, and become the self-actualized self, become this transcendent self. No, you already are it. You just don't realize it. So you just have to let go of what's blocking your awareness of it, and then that's what growth in Course terms looks like. Okay, so that leads us nicely into today's lesson, which is 334. So let's have a look at lesson 334 of the workbook. Again, very short lesson, so I'll just read the original and you read the alternative version of it, and then we'll do a meditation on it. Okay, so today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives is the original key idea. I'm going to read the alternative below that.
I accept the gifts letting go gives me today.
Yeah, so it's all about accepting the gifts that letting go brings. And those gifts are not external, those gifts are love and peace and joy, internal states of mind. Okay, so I'll read the original and commentary. I will not wait another day to find the treasures that my Father offers me.
I will not wait another day to find the treasures that my source offers me.
Illusions are all vain, and dreams are gone, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perceptions.
Illusions are all vain, and dreams are gone, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perceptions.
Let me not accept such meager gifts again today.
I will not accept such meager gifts again today.
God's voice is offering the peace of God to all who hear and choose to follow him.
Perfect love's voice is offering the peace of perfect love to all who hear and choose to follow it.
This is my choice today.
This is my choice today.
And so I go to find the treasures God has given me.
And so I find the treasures pure formless awareness of perfect love has given me. And from the top, I will not wait another day to find the treasures that my source offers me. Illusions are all vain and dreams are gone, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perceptions. I will not accept such meager gifts again today. Perfect love's voice is offering the peace of perfect love to all who hear and choose to follow it. This is my choice today. And so I find the treasures of pure formless awareness of perfect love has given me. It's just again about the choice and why wait another day to get the treasures from your source, and why accept such meager gifts from our separate self, our false self, which is just a dream, and perfect love's voice is offering this piece of perfect love to hear and choose and follow it. And this is our choice today.
Yeah. So treasures of the world are meager by comparison with love, peace, and joy, and anything that you seek. What the ego says is, well, go and get this treasure outside of you, and then you'll be happy.
Yeah.
But you need the treasure to be happy. So it makes the illusion real by doing that. And of course, we find that we're not, because we might temporarily go, oh, wow, I achieved my goal, or maybe it's you bought something and there's a temporary satisfaction, but it doesn't last very long. Wears off.
Mm.
And then you've got the same issue of the ego and all of its darkness that hasn't been resolved. That approach is not going to resolve the problem. Whereas this approach of choosing the gifts of God by letting go of the ego will work. It's going to help free you from the false self concept and all of its desires and fears. Okay. So again, yeah, pretty simple lesson. It's not rocket science, is it? But he needs to state it over and over again because we have to forget it. That's what we tend to do.
Yeah, true.
So you've got to remind yourself over and over again. And if something comes up and it tempts you to value the ego's illusion, then you welcome that. You say, okay, well, it's showing me another aspect of my ego that needs to be welcomed in and then let go of. All right. So then just a short prayer. I seek but the eternal. Lane, can you read?
Yes. I seek only the eternal. You want me to just read the whole? Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'll read the original, you read the alternative. Well,
Okay.
for your son content with nothing less than this.
Your extension cannot be content with anything less than this.
What then can be his solace? That's what you are offering to his bewildered mind and frightened heart, to give him certainty and
What then can comfort me except that you are offering to my bewildered mind and frightened heart, to give me certainty and bring me peace?
Today, I would behold my brother sinless.
Today I choose to perceive my companions as innocent.
This your will for me.
Yeah. This is your awareness for me, for so I experience my innocence. And from the top,
so will I behold my sinlessness. Yeah, from the top.
I seek only the eternal, for your extension cannot be content with anything less than this. What then can comfort me except what you are offering to my bewildered mind and frightened heart, to give me certainty and bring me peace? Today, I choose to perceive my companions as innocent. This is your awareness for me, for so I experience my innocence. It's just saying today we're going to seek for the eternal, and we can't be, as an extension, cannot be content with anything less. And then how can we accept comfort when the mind is bewildered and frightened in the heart? And it's not going to bring us peace. So we want to see our companions as innocent. So this is our awareness for us to experience our innocence.
Yeah. Very simple message. It's not rocket science, it's not complicated, but then that's why it's the truth. complexity, complications, those are the ego. The
Yeah.
truth is very, very simple. It's so simple that we struggle to understand it because our minds have got so complex.
Yeah.
That's the challenge, isn't it? It's really, really so simple that the ego can't grasp it.
No, it's true.
And then tries to make some, complicated story and compromise attempts at forgiveness and spiritual paths that are dualistic. These are all compromise approaches by the ego to try and complicate the very simple truth that actually you can't reconcile truth and illusion. You can never reconcile the dream and the truth because they are opposites. Okay, so yeah, any other thoughts on that? Comments or questions?
Yeah, no, it
And
resonates.
reiterate that claim the gifts forgiveness gives. So really all he's doing in final lessons is reinforcing that forgiveness is the only way. This is all that you need to do. And it's an affirmation saying that so that you believe it. Because if you believe it, that all the gifts that you could possibly want are there. You just need to accept them, and they will come to you when you genuinely let go. Then why are you holding on? Why are you not letting go? He's trying to remove all the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as you put them, from your mind, to free you to be in this one mind.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yay!
Yay.
Now let's do a meditation, shall we?
Oh, yes. Right, I shall.
Yeah. Let's do a 15-minute med. So let's go for that. And okay, so this is a meditation on lesson 334 of the workbook. Of course, just making yourself comfortable, sitting comfortably in your favorite meditation posture, feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So you're breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. So just scan your mind. Just noticing any thoughts, any emotions going on. Particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. Just breathe into that. Nice deep inhale breath. So look at any thoughts, any emotions, particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricted in any way, and counter it with today's lesson. Remind yourself that today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Or I accept the gifts letting go gives me today, an alternative version of the idea, key idea for today. So I accept the gifts letting go gives me today. And just breathe in. So the inhale is an opportunity to invite these gifts in, invite loving awareness and peace and joy into your mind. Feel it filling you up. And you're just going to let go of any of that negativity, that darkness, And placing in the light of the true gifts. Those gifts are not anything material. They are feelings of love and peace, joy, happiness, deep fulfillment. I'm just going to exhale and blow out anything that contradicts those gifts. So any fear, anxiety, worry, depression, sadness, anger, frustration, guilt. Just blow it all out with the breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. Finding a deeper peace, a sense of peace, tranquility, peace of God that surpasses all understanding. The Apostle Paul called it. Try and experience that. It's not intellectual realization. It's a feeling in your mind, in your heart. Just feel that peace. Say to yourself, I will not wait another day to find this peace, the treasures that my source offers me. I will not wait another day. So call to action to say enough time's been wasted. Breathing in again. So illusions are all vain. And dreams are gone. Well, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest in false perceptions. And just contemplate that. And the illusions will always disappoint me. Because they are not real. Exhale out and just release their own reality into nothingness that it really is. My stomach into the spine. Expel our Australia out. Just breathe in again. As you breathe in, contemplate the idea. And as you hold the breath briefly while you contemplate, then as you exhale, you're going to speak the idea aloud as an affirmation or say it in your mind. So I will not accept, as you breathe in, I will not accept such meager gifts again today. So you're making a clear statement of intent that this is not what you're going to accept anymore. Perfect love's voice is offering the peace of perfect love to all who hear and choose to follow it. So breathe in, perfect love's voice is offering the peace of perfect love to all who hear and choose to follow it. This is my choice today, say as an affirmation. And so I find the treasures, pure formless awareness of perfect love has given me. An affirmation of your intent and the statement of fact that you have actually found these treasures, which are just internal states: love, peace, joy, happiness, contentment, fulfillment, and anything else that you want to put in there, anything else that we call positive awareness is in the treasures of pure formless awareness, of perfect love. Remind yourself as you breathe in with this prayer that I seek only the eternal. For your extension cannot be content. Not anything less than this. Your extension cannot be content with anything less than this. Breathe in on that and understand that only heaven, only the eternal reality of who you really are, of your source, and merging with that is ever going to satisfy you. No illusions can do that. That's why they're illusions. What then can comfort me except what you're offering to? What then can comfort me except what you are offering to my bewildered mind and frightened heart? Today I choose to perceive my companions as innocent. And this is your awareness for me. This is your will for me, and the original is your awareness for me. So I experience my sinlessness or my innocence. And so just breathe in this innocence into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. And rest in this innocence. There's nowhere else to go. And there's nothing else to do for a couple of minutes. You just breathe, relax, and be still. Surrender into this innocence, this love, loving awareness, innocence, truth, perfect oneness. Any thoughts come up that seem to disturb this deep peace, remind yourself of today's lesson that accept the gifts that letting go gives me today. I claim them now, not sometime in the future, but right now in this moment. Just allow the peace and love and the joy and whatever feelings come up, just allow them to be there. And just relish them, just really appreciate what you have right now. Don't need to seek anywhere else. Seeking ends, and you become these. Now just gently coming back in this deep, connected, peaceful, innocent state. And you bring your awareness gently back on the count of 3 into the world via the senses. So on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. 1, just breathing in, notice the stomach rise and the chest rise and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And you pause at the top of the inhale, scan your mind, notice any thoughts, emotions, related body sensations going on. remind yourself that you choose to accept the gifts that letting go gives you today. Exhaling out on the count of 2. Breathe out, notice the air flowing out, chest and stomach sucked back in. Maybe you feel some energy in the crown of your head subsiding back down into your stomach, your groin. Just notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling and touching. Your hands, maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, the smell in your nose. Notice that. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. I'm just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state, perspective, state of mind without illusions, in which only the truth is true, in which there's no judgment, in which forgiveness is complete. You just can set the intention to carry this for the rest of the day, rest of the evening, or into your weekend, so that you claim the gifts forgiveness gives, not just today, but every moment of every day by day, moment by moment. So it is said, and so it is done. Now, on the count of 3, open your eyes. So just take a minute to look around, observing various objects in the room around you in this very calm, detached, subjective state of mind. Notice that this peaceful awareness that you hopefully connect with quite deeply over the last 15 minutes is still there, even though all your senses are now engaged again. You can look around at something else in the room, any object. Notice that this underlying awareness, this peaceful awareness, is still there. It hasn't changed. Close your eyes, drop into that awareness. Maybe you find it easier when your eyes are closed, but notice that it's the same awareness, whether your eyes are open or closed. Open your eyes again, look around, up, down, behind you, and notice this awareness is everywhere. So this is the screen of true awareness onto which the images of the world are projected. And when you get into this awareness of the screen and stay in that awareness, then the images don't really matter. Nothing I see means anything, and I'm just given it all the meaning it has for you. First 2 lessons of the workbook come to mind. None of it really means anything. And you can stay in this very peaceful, calm, and happy state, no matter what happens with the images, no matter what your senses are telling you. That's all just images and dream. Truth is that the underlying awareness is what's important, and that's what's always there. And that's where the gifts that forgiveness helps you claim, the gifts letting go gives you, come from that underlying awareness, from that screen, and they filter into your mind, and then they start changing your mind, and they change your perceptions, and they change your words and your thoughts and your actions. That's how your life changes inside out. So I hope this lesson has helped you in some way to do that and awaken you. That brings us to the end of the meditation and the lesson.
Yeah, good lesson, especially in the mornings. So thank you.
Only a pleasure, Elaine. So
yeah, have a lovely weekend.
Yeah, have a lovely weekend too, and I will see you on Monday.
On Monday. Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you Monday afternoon, yeah?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay. All right.
Okay, doke.
Have a lovely weekend. Keep
You
practicing.
too. I will.
All right.
Namaste.
Bye for
Bye.
now.
Bye.
Okay, so that is a wrap for today. Thank you to Elaine for joining the session. If you joined the session on a live stream or you're watching this on a recording, You can do a couple of things to take another step in the direction of awakening. Why not subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that? And if you like this content, then go to lifebull.com. You can sign up to receive a Telegram message, which I send out every day with a daily quote and some comments on it. Saw an example of that in the session earlier. And a mind training lesson from the course. And I also send out some reading from the text translated into an alternative version. You get all of this free, as well as access to these live sessions 3 weeks for free. So check it out at lifebull.com. Sign up. You'll need a Telegram account and a mobile device, mobile number, and you'll start receiving that. And we're starting the 6-week course and the 1-year program, the Ask Letting Go program, quite soon in February. So now's a good time to get involved and find out more. So hope to catch you on the inside of the group or in one of these sessions soon. Thanks for listening and watching, and namaste, which means the truth in me acknowledges and honors that same true self in you. I'm wishing you many gifts, the gifts of forgiveness, the love, and the peace and the joy come from that true self. Bye for now.